I think art is a bit messy. I think you sort of don't know what you're doing as you're going. Like at the moment, I'm writing an animation screenplay for children. So, you know, like a Shrek or a Lion King, that sort of a thing. I won't say what it is, but I'm doing that. And whenever I get an idea or a line or a character trait or something, I just write it down, and it's just a pile of mess right now. It's not like you sit down and start writing this perfect story. I might see a scene in my head and just write the scene, but I don't know where that's going to fit in. I don't know if it's going to be the start or the end, but I can sort of see the general idea. And I would sort of liken it, this is for me personally, to putting one of those huge puzzles together. You know, you might start with the corner pieces, and then you might see something to go right in the middle, and then eventually it will start looking like something. But for me to sit down and just write from start to finish and it all flows perfectly, it just never works like that. You edit things, you throw things away, you leave it. You can even leave it for a month and then come back and read it fresh, and you've forgotten what you've written. So you'll get that same reaction that someone would get who's never read it before, and you'll think, oh, that was really stupid. I don't even understand what I wrote myself. Or you'll think, oh, no, that really got me in the guts. That's going to stay. So that's how I do it. I'm not on a timeline, although I probably should be, because I'm one of those types that just keep putting things off. And like, I've got a book of poetry. I've got about 100 poems, and I've whittled it down to 40. And I think I've got all the artwork done for it, but I just won't put it out. I just won't publish it, because I think, no, I can get that poem more perfect. So sometimes you're your own worst enemy, because you just won't get to the point where you feel like it's finished. And that's, you know, maybe the creative type. But at some point, you've just got to think that's good enough. Yeah, it's messy, Emil. It's not clean at all. It's not, but it's enjoyable for me. Yeah.
And it's inspired. It sounds like it's inspired, something that comes from within and almost drops on you, and you have to kind of write it down. And I think the more and more I hear stories of the most successful writers, it's all about writing these ideas down. For example, Stephen King got the idea of one of his books as just a partial image of something coming down and severing a man's hand, and he lay dormant for I think decades before he actually started to write that story. And that story, I forget what the book is called, but it was turned into a mini series, and it became one of his successful books. Not every book he writes or publishes now is successful. I think he sells probably half of the market when it comes to any types of books that sell. But out of interest, have you read Stephen King's book on writing? That's what it's called.
I have read bits and pieces of it, but I haven't read the whole thing, no.
It's an interesting idea, because he walks through his process of putting ideas down, and in a later interview he kind of mimics or reflects what he's kind of getting to in the book. And this is a very cynical view of writing that he has in this statement, but it's one that's stuck with me forever. He says, plot writing is the last resort of very bad writers.
I need to tell Matt this, because he was trying to tell me that plot is everything, and I was trying to tell him, no, it's character. Okay, I'm going to throw this back in his face. I'm really excited you told me this.
It's such I love it. I love his reflection, because this is the most successful, I would say the most successful writer in history in terms of the quantity of what he has written, what it's sold, and the type of, like, he made clowns scary. Like before his book, it was published in the 80s, clowns were a fun thing. You know, they came to your party, they did practical jokes, tricks, they entertained you in circuses, and then he comes along with Pennywise, and turns it on its head. Bloody hell. And then generations of kids.
You know, my favorite Stephen King quote that I ever heard him say was, he said, "I have the heart of a small boy and it's sitting in a jar on my desk."
Oh,
I just love, he just takes it in a different direction. I just love it. Yeah. He's very, very good writer. Just picturing it now, isn't it? It's just so creepy.
I don't even know what to say to that. Gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
bless this guy.